Welcome everyone to our student information session hosted by WestEd and Song for Charlie and funded by the Oregon Department of Education. We're so excited you could join us and really looking forward to your input and feedback. Your voice matters. So why are we here, you might ask? Well, we're looking to engage with Oregon's youth to better understand their perspectives on opioid use and prevention and how they access information about this critical issue. So your insights will aid us in crafting a meaningful media campaign for opioid prevention targeted at youth and families in our communities. Remember, your voice matters, and you are the experts in the room. We want to hear from Oregon youth like you about what they know about opioid use, where they get information to inform their decisions, and how they use different types of information to help us create a media campaign for schools about opioid prevention for youth and families. We will also want your feedback on the materials we develop to make sure that they will work for youth and families. We look forward to hearing from you and ensuring our efforts resonate with the challenges and the realities you all face. So let's work together to create a safe and informative space for all. So to ensure our campaign is effective and truly resonates with youth, we have organized 4 listening sessions. In session 1 today, we will discuss some terminology and explore how youth access information. In session 2, we will delve further into youth experiences and their preferences for receiving health information. During session 3, you'll have the opportunity to provide input and give feedback on preliminary media materials. And finally, in session 4, we will seek your thoughts on the designed media materials to refine and optimize them. Your participation and insights are invaluable throughout this process, really helping us to create impactful and meaningful resources for opioid prevention. Now, we understand that discussions like these can be challenging. Some of you might feel enthusiastic, but others might feel a little nervous, and that's perfectly all right. Everyone is welcome in this space. Your comfort and safety are our top priorities, and we want to hear what will help make this session a safe space for you. As part of today's session, we'll be gathering your thoughts on this in our survey. Now, rest assured, there will be no punishment or judgment for anything you share here or in the survey. We also recognize that some of you may know people who are affected by substance use, and you are not alone. It's crucial that we create a safe environment for you. We'll have norms and expectations in place to support safe and meaningful conversations in these activities. Your voice is important, and together we can create a supportive community. In navigating hard conversations, it's important to listen actively and approach discussions with compassion and empathy. This helps create a safe space where everyone feels comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings. We want you to use facts and specifics to really focus on the issues at hand, avoiding generalizations by providing some really concrete examples to prevent any misunderstandings. We also want you to use person-first language. For example, when referring to someone with an addiction issue, you may say, "This is a person with an addiction," rather than calling them an addict. Putting the person first before the behavior or the condition humanizes us all, and it demonstrates respect. We also want you to express your thoughts and feelings honestly while maintaining respect, and acknowledge the emotions of other people, as empathy and understanding are absolutely crucial. And finally, we want you to focus on contribution rather than blame to foster a constructive and supportive dialogue. Remember, context matters, so remain curious and respectful of people's boundaries to achieve a productive resolution. Okay, so here's where we're going today. First, we'll review terms associated with opioid use and social media to ensure that everyone understands the language that we'll be using during the discussions. This is going to set a common foundation for our listening sessions. Then we're going to ask you to complete a quick survey. This will help us to learn more about the information you currently access and guide our future efforts. And if at any point you feel uncomfortable, please take a moment for yourself, and if needed, reach out to a trusted adult or a peer. And remember, if you have questions, feel free to email us at opioidprevention@wested.org. As we start today's session, please be aware that the information you are about to see or hear, it might bring up some difficult feelings or memories. If you find yourself feeling uncomfortable or stressed, please feel free to pause and return whenever you are ready. If it becomes overwhelming, it's perfectly okay not to continue. Instead, seek support from a trusted adult or peer. Your well-being is important, so please take care of yourself. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out at opioidprevention@wested.org. So before we begin, let's first just review some important terms you're going to encounter throughout our sessions. It's important that everyone has a common understanding. So if at any point you have questions about these terms, please don't hesitate to reach out. During any listening session, feel free to pause and request for clarification on any term. Our goal is to ensure that everyone is familiar with the language that we'll be using as we proceed. This understanding will help us communicate more effectively and support each other in future discussions. Now, in this section, we'll cover some key terms related to substance use. So a substance is any material like alcohol or drugs that affects how our brain and body work. This results in changes in our mood, our awareness, our thoughts, our feelings, or our behaviors. Now, substance misuse refers to using a substance in a way that doesn't align with legal or medical guidelines. And then a substance use disorder is a treatable condition impacting a person's brain and behavior. This can lead to significant problems like an inability to fulfill your responsibilities at work or at school or at home. Even if a person wants to stop, it can be challenging with a substance use disorder. Tolerance occurs when a person's reaction to a substance diminishes as they continue to use it. And withdrawal refers to the negative symptoms that arise when a person stops using a substance. And last, dependency describes a condition where a person becomes physically reliant on a substance despite facing negative consequences. Now let's discuss the different stages on the substance use spectrum. At one end, we have non-use, which entails completely avoiding substances like drugs, tobacco, or alcohol. Moving forward, there's beneficial use. This is where a substance is used in a way that has a positive health, social, or spiritual effect, like taking medication as prescribed, or ceremonial tobacco use. Then we have lower risk use, which has a minimal impact on the individual or their family, such as following low-risk alcohol drinking guidelines. Then we have higher risk use. This involves use that negatively affects a person or their loved ones, like impaired driving or binge drinking. And finally, there's substance use disorder, a treatable condition involving compulsive use despite severe consequences, like the inability to stop using substances, even when we really want to. It's important to note that a person may move back and forth on these stages over time. So what are prescription opioids? Well, they are medications primarily used to treat moderate to severe pain. However, due to their potency and their addictive nature, they can also pose significant risks. So it's important to be aware of common prescription opioids, which include hydrocodone, which is also known under the brand name as Vicodin, oxycodone or Oxy, which is found in OxyContin and Percocet, as well as codeine and fentanyl. Understanding these substances and their effects helps prevent misuse and ensures that they are used safely and appropriately. So as we move forward in our session, let's turn our attention to the topic of fentanyl. Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid known for its high addictive potential. Its potency is remarkable. It is 100 times more powerful than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin. As a synthetic drug, that means it's produced in laboratories and often made in mass quantities. While it is sometimes prescribed by doctors and used in hospital settings for very severe pain management, fentanyl also can be dangerous. It has the potential to cause overdose or be lethal, especially when found in counterfeit pills or shared outside of a medical setting. So understanding these risks is important to prevention efforts. Now, fentanyl can be produced in two main ways. First, as a pharmaceutical, it is created in a quality-controlled facility and used in prescription medications that's provided by licensed doctors and pharmacies. However, there is also illicitly manufactured fentanyl, which is made without quality control or safety measures, and it's primarily distributed through illegal drug markets. This type is often found in fake or counterfeit pills, also known as fentanyls. So these can be sold as, quote, prescription pills online or by unlicensed dealers, sometimes marketed as Oxy, OxyContin, Percocet, Xanax, Adderall, Norco, Vicodin, Valium, and many more. Fentanyl is also found in other illegal drugs, ranging from ecstasy or Molly, or cocaine or heroin. So it's vital to recognize these distinctions to really understand the risks that are associated with it. Now, most youth, about 75%, are familiar with fentanyl. You may be as well. And most youth, about 94%, perceive taking a pill not prescribed by a doctor as a greater risk. And yet, the spread of illicitly manufactured fentanyl has increased with many overdoses among youth. Now, education addresses substance use in many ways. It can help prevent or delay the first use of drugs. It can help reduce harm. It can help understand substance use disorders. It can also help us to teach refusal skills. It also helps us to connect youth to community resources and interrupt the development of substance use related problems. So prevention for substance use positively impacts other quality of life health concerns such as suicide, mental health, and bullying. Now, harm reduction is a term and a concept that you will hear. Basically, what this means is it's a way to prevent overdose fatalities that incorporates strategies to really support people in using substances to reduce the harms of substance use. It also focuses on prevention, reducing risks, and promoting health. Some ways that we can reduce harm include connecting youth with substance use and mental health resources. We can partner with families and caregivers in identifying resources and supports. We can also provide opioid reversal medications. And it can be what we call safer use supplies, giving some easier access to those. Now, one example of harm reduction is naloxone, or also known as Narcan. So this comes in a spray that you put in someone's nostrils to help them to start breathing again. Paramedics in some schools have naloxone available. Giving someone naloxone will not hurt them. and Oregon even has what's called a Good Samaritan law. This protects people when they help others who are experiencing an overdose. So there should be no fear of getting into trouble to help someone who is having an overdose. Another example of a harm reduction strategy is fentanyl test strips. These are small strips of paper designed to detect the presence of fentanyl in various drugs and drug forms, including pills, powders, and injectables. These strips are a valuable tool for harm reduction, providing a way for individuals to check their substances for the presence of fentanyl, which can help prevent overdoses and increase safety. Whew, well, you just made it through a lot today, and thank you so much for your attention. Now for the fun part. Let's build a media campaign for schools about opioid prevention for youth and families. Here's what we need your help with. We need help identifying what mediums and channels will work best to communicate to youth and families. Mediums, for example, might include things like posters or flyers, newsletters, or social media posts. And channels, for example, might include YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, email, school announcements, message boards, or messaging apps. Clarifying the messages with the right information so that youth and families will pay attention is so important, which is why your voice matters. Well, you've made it to the end. So what's next? First, I want you to write down the code Oregon25. That's OREGON25. Then return back to the hub where you started and begin the survey. The survey will ask you for this code, so be sure to jot it down before you go. We know this was a lot to get through, and we appreciate your time and attention today. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks live in our Zoom session. We'll be sending more information out soon. Don't forget the code Oregon25.